Trust makes the world go around. Well, at least it makes the economy go. Think about it. Every single transaction you're a part of needs trust to be executed. You have to trust the vendor to deliver on your purchase, and the vendor needs a guarantee that the buyer will pay. You're even putting trust in the currency you're using to make that purchase. But not every transaction goes straight from buyer to seller. Products are sold, bought, and resold several times and are often transported by several different handlers and shippers. Trust is needed for each step of the supply chain, otherwise it simply cannot work. Currently, trust is established through business history, credit, or complex contracts. And this lack of trust causes friction, and that ends up costing both producers and consumers money. Disputes must be dealt with in court, which is neither time or cost efficient. Getting something from point A to point B might seem simple, but it's really not that easy. In fact, in the real world, transporting goods is insanely complex. See, the core part of supply chains are producers and consumers being connected by third parties. As we previously described, very few companies have the ability to fulfill online orders, and any that maintain an inventory are going to have to deal with third-party producers, resellers, and transporters. Currently, once a product leaves your hands, or even before it gets to your hands, it is in the possession of an untrusted shipper. And I say untrusted because a lot of things can go wrong with the transportation of goods. Let's say that the producer of Fabergé eggs are looking to get their product to an independent fine goods store. Often several shippers will be involved in the transportation process, and that creates a major issue. Accountability. These priceless works of art are extremely fragile, and hypothetically, let's say a box shifts the wrong way and an egg breaks. Well, that issue likely won't be discovered until delivery is received and the shipment is checked. And with the cost of these beautiful eggs being astronomical, that buyer is going to be mad and they are going to want their money back. But whose fault is it? Who had possession of the good when it broke or when it was exposed to other undesirable conditions such as extreme temperatures? In this case, the current supply chain supplies no answers. The solution is for producers and consumers to pay for expensive insurance policies, since usually no fault can be assigned. All these problems cost money, and most of that cost ultimately gets passed on to the consumer. It's a closed system that operates on a lot of faith, and that doesn't always work out. The blockchain can offer transparency that can reduce recalls, shipping times, and cost. The term blockchain is thrown around loosely, but there's an important distinction to make. Blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum are what are known as open blockchains. Anyone can use them while maintaining a certain level of anonymity. But the information transmitted on those networks is public. But there's another type of blockchain known as a permission blockchain. While it partially maintains the same structure, the parties are known in this permission blockchain, but the information that's transacted is restricted to these permission parties or kept private from everyone else. And if you think about it, this type of blockchain is perfect for business. Business entities aren't going to throw around their proprietary information. They want to operate on a need-to-know basis, and a permission blockchain is perfect for this. But how can the blockchain address a damaged goods scenario that we described above? The answer is that a blockchain alone really can't do this. It can, however, be paired with something called the Internet of Things and act as a permanent, immutable ledger constantly recording data and conditions. Let me explain. The Internet of Things describes the interconnectivity of everyday objects via the Internet. Ever hear about someone using their phone to control their thermostat? That's the Internet of Things in action. While it describes everyday options, the IoT can also describe a network of sensors, and those sensors could transmit data to the blockchain. Let's use food as an example. Produce has to be kept at a certain temperature, or that shipment can spoil or even become unsafe. There are thousands of recalls each year and several outbreaks of foodborne illnesses, with some even resulting in death. By using the IoT paired with the blockchain, temperature data could be constantly monitored. If it falls beyond a predetermined temperature range, well, that data would be permanently recorded on the blockchain, alerting the appropriate parties that the shipment has fallen out of the predetermined range. And at that point, delivery can be refused. If conditions are met, the shipping is then accepted with the assurance that the shipping conditions were okay. This transparency for appropriate parties can give producers and consumers a certain level of assurance that their food is safe. With the IoT constantly transmitting information and that information being recorded on a blockchain, well, that might mitigate the safety issues along with efficiency and cost. And we're already seeing use cases being put into action with IOTA and Walton Chain, all trying to track products from producer to receiver. And that's how the blockchain is going to impact the supply chain industry. If you have any questions, throw those down below in the comments. While you're down there, leave a like and also subscribe so you don't miss out on any future industry impacts. Any other questions about blockchains and cryptocurrency, head over to Blockchain WTF. If we haven't covered it, we will.